Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about a really powerful way of thinking, a way to tackle our planet's biggest challenges. It's called a multidisciplinary approach, and honestly, it's all about seeing the bigger picture.
Okay, let's just start with a massive question, right? When you think about things like climate change or pollution, how do we even begin to solve problems that are just so impossibly complex? It can feel super overwhelming, but the key isn't finding one single answer. It's actually about asking the question in a totally different way.
So, the answer, it's not some magic bullet, not some new gadget or some perfect policy. It's a way of thinking, a really powerful way of thinking that's changing the game when it comes to innovation. It boils down to this. The best solutions pop up when we look at a problem from every single angle we can.
So here's the deal with a multidisciplinary approach. No single expert, no matter how brilliant they are, has the whole picture. It's all about building a team of specialists who each see a different piece of the puzzle. It's kind of like assembling a team of superheroes. Each one has their own unique power, right? And you need all of them to face down that one giant threat.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's dive into the perfect case study, environmental studies. This entire field was basically born out of necessity, right? Because our environmental challenges are just way too tangled up for any single expert to solve alone.
Yeah, this field is absolutely a team sport. It's not just one or two branches of science. We're talking about a huge collaboration across so many different disciplines. So let's break down what just a few of these key players bring to the table. Okay, so take a biologist. They're mapping out that super intricate web of life, right? Through ecology, they show us how every single species is connected. But at the same time, you've got a chemist who's tracking how pollutants are moving through our air and water. And that fundamentally changes the rules of the game for those very same species.
Then you bring in the atmospheric physicists. They're modeling the enormous planetary forces of climate change, the really big picture stuff. And while they're looking at the macro, you've got health scientists and toxicologists zooming way in, down to the micro level. They're telling us the precise health risks we face when we're exposed to new stuff in our environment.
All right, so this is where the problem solvers jump in. The engineers, they step up to design the practical, hands-on solutions, like water treatment plants or air scrubbers. And you know who's powering their work? The computer scientists. They're the ones creating these incredibly complex models that can predict future changes and crunch massive amounts of data to keep an eye on our planet's health.
And that brings us to the absolutely crucial role of economics. You see, the old school model just shows money flowing back and forth. But a newer field, ecological economics, it's asking a much bigger question. What's the actual value of clean air or a stable climate? It tries to put a price tag on all the services that nature just gives us for free. And when you do that, you can finally understand the true cost of environmental damage.
Okay, so why does any of this matter to you? Well, this isn't just some abstract academic exercise. This way of thinking connects directly to the problems we all face every single day, whether we realize it or not.
Think about it. On a global scale, this approach is absolutely essential for tackling something as huge as climate change. But then you bring it down to the local level, and it's helping us manage the trash in our cities and clean up our rivers. And then you bring it all the way down to the individual. It's what ensures the water coming out of your tap is safe and that your food doesn't have harmful pesticides. All of these problems, from huge to tiny, need that same team of experts working together.
And this image, wow, it really shows the stark reality of what happens when we don't look at all the angles, right? You see a complex, living ecosystem just get paved over by unsustainable development. And that creates these massive ripple effects that impact everything from the local weather to whether or not we have the resources we need.
But here's the flip side. All this complexity, it also creates incredible opportunity. Seriously, solving these massive problems is driving the demand for a whole new generation of experts and innovators. We're talking new careers in environmental health, in safety, in research, and in green technology.
So let's look at a concrete solution that's actually working right now. It's called agroforestry, and it is a perfect example of what happens when you bring different fields together to create something amazing.
So agroforestry is basically a system that copies what a natural forest does, but to produce food in a sustainable way. And to make it work, you can't just have one expert. You need agronomists for the crops, you need foresters for the trees, you need economists to make sure it's actually going to work for the community, and you need soil analysts to keep the land healthy for years to come. It's just a perfect blend of all that expertise.
So, what does this all mean for you?
Well, the next time you're up against a really complex problem, maybe at work or in your community, instead of asking, who's the one expert we need, maybe the better question to ask is, what team do we need to build?